Okay, this is a mock set 3 paper 3 calculator. Now I've just pre-worked out this question just to save some time on the video. So write 168 as a product of its prime factors. You must show your working. So here, make sure you do your factor tree, circle your prime numbers and write that, and that is the product of prime factors. Very straightforward. Do double check your answers using your calculator. Multiply that, make sure it makes 168. That's a 3-mark banker. Find the highest common factor, HCF, of 168 and 180. Well, same again. 2 times 90, 9 times 10. Split it into its prime numbers and circle it, and here we get this answer here. Now to find the highest common factor shared between 168 and 180, all you need to see is what prime numbers are in common in both. So can you see in 180 you've got 2 squared, and in 168 2 squared will be in it as well. So you just write down what's in common, and then there's only 1 3 and 1 3 in common here. So that makes 2 squared times 3, so the highest common factor is 12, and that's the correct answer. Now I'm going to show you this quick calculator trick, so you can double check your answer on the calculator. So your calculators may be a bit different to this, but it should be exactly the same. So here you go, how to find the prime factors of any number. So you just press 168, press equals, then click, can you see the word says fact in here in yellow? So that's the shift button, so press shift fact. That gives you the answer 2 cubed times 3 times 7. Can you see that's exactly what we've got? Let's check our 180. So let's type in 180, press equals, shift fact, that's 2 squared times 3 squared times 5, and you can see it working. Really useful tool to see if it comes up on the calculator test. Make sure your answer is correct. You still need to do the method because you can see it's a 3-mark question, or it could be a 2-mark one. So let's just do a really large number. You won't get this in the exam, but you can see this working. Yeah, let's do this. There you go, press equals, shift fact, and that gives you that answer. I'll show you another example. Let's just do a nice number so it's going to have lots of factors. Press equals, so again shift fact, and it gives you the factors just like that. Nice and simple. So I hope that helps you a lot. Right, so you've got Eric and Geraldine left town A at 2 PM. Now this, you've got speed, time and distance, but we're trying to find speed, so just remember the speed, distance and times triangle. We've got to find speed, so I'm just going to write this up here. Speed equals distance divided by time. You're comparing, so let's look at Eric. So you can see Eric took 48 minutes on route 1. 48 minutes. Now speed is in miles per hour, so we need to convert these minutes out of an hour. So that would be 48 out of 60. We've got the distance for Eric. So for Eric, his distance is, he's going on route 1. So what we're going to do here is 36.1 divided by the time, which is 48 out of 60. And that's going to equal 45.5 miles per hour. Let's do this for Geraldine now. So let's look at Geraldine's time it took. That's 1 hour and 25 minutes. So that is 85 minutes. So Geraldine's speed is going to equal 65.2 divided by 85 over 60. That's going to equal 46.0235 and so forth. So you need to communicate. It's Geraldine drove faster or has a greater average because 46.02 is greater than 45.5. That's your processing marks here, 1 and 2, and that's your communication mark. Question 3. This is a loci type program. Question, I mean. And right, so remember, question 3 is a scale drawing of a school playground. 1 centimetre represents 2 metres. So you're going to need a compass for this. Less than 9 metres from C, so you've got to set your compass to 4.5 centimetres. Set your compass, this is just an estimate, and obviously draw an arc there, and that radius here should be 4.5 centimetres. Closer to BC than AB. BC closer to BC than AB, and more than 4 metres from AB. So let's do that one first, that's going to be easier. So that's going to be 2 centimetres. So more than 4, you just need to use your ruler there, and let's just say that is like that, okay, because that's going to be 2 centimetres. It's going to be less than that because of my 4.5, but it's just depending on the scale of the diagram. And closer to BC than AB. So if it's closer to BC than AB, that has to be an angle bisector using your compass. So unfortunately I can't show you a compass tool on this. Use your compass, get your arcs, look up angle bisector, so you know how to do this. And that should be like a diagonal here, so it's anything, and it's closer to BC, so it's anything on this side here. Show by showing on the diagram where Nassim can put the seat. Less than 9 metres from C, that's here. Closer to AB than AC, so it will just be this region here. And that's where you shade, and that'll be correct, but it's based on your drawing. But as long as you've got the idea for that, I'm happy with that. That is an easy 4 marks if you're good at it. Okay, question 4 looks like a probability question, and this looks like it will be banker marks. There are red, blue and green counters in the bag. Got a ratio here. Count's going to be taken from the bag at random. Complete the table below to see each of the probabilities that the counts would be red, blue or green. So right, so you could see that's out of 11, so 1 out of 11 is red, 3 out of 11 is blue, and 7 out of 11 is green, so just fill that in. Leave it as a fraction, it is fine. That is a straightforward 2 marks. We need to clean that up. Jamie takes a random counter from the bag and records the colour of the counter. He then puts the counter back in the bag. Jamie does this a number of times. He records a total of 68 blue counters. Work out the estimate for the total number of times Jamie takes a counter from the bag. So let's just try to work this out algebraically so it will make sense. Because it's an estimate, so it's experimental probability. So let's say he's got an X amount of blue counters, but we'll just call it B for blue. So we know he's picked up a B times 3 out of 11. That's the probability. And he's got blue 68 times. So to work backwards and to find a blue, we just divide out by 3 over 11. So blue equals 68 divided by 3 over 11, and use this fraction tool, use the SD button, so that's equals 249.3 recurring. So, well, the counters have got to be a whole number, so you can say 249 or 250 are both acceptable answers. Right, let's look at question 5. Mariam is trying to expand and simplify this. Here is her working. Mariam's answer is wrong. Find Mariam's mistake. Well, best way to do these types of questions is actually to work it out yourself to see where she could have gone wrong and compare. I can spot it straight away. So n times n is n squared. Minus 2n minus 2n looks correct. Now what's minus 2 times minus 2? Negative times negative is a positive. That's plus 4. So I've just written the same thing again. So that's n squared minus 4n plus 4. So you can easily see that she's plus. So where find Mariam's mistake? Well, she when she expanded minus 2 times minus 2, she wrote minus 4. Say should be plus 4. That will be enough. And you could add extra detail here and just circle the minus 4 as a mistake, but once you've done that, that is clear. Right, Josh is trying to factorise this. So 4 times 2, yes, gives us the 8, and 4 add 2 equals 6. So he says it's this. Right, so what is wrong with that? So Josh, he needs to find 2 values or factors that equal minus 6, not 6, right? Because there's a minus 6x here. That will get you your 1 mark. So here we go. We have a line y equals 3x plus 2. So let's just quick recap. That means 3 equals m, which is the gradient. Remember, y equals mx plus c. C is the y-intercept. So you can see, well, that's a negative value here. And you can say y-intercept is plus 2, so it can't be negative. Okay. Let's go into question 6. Diagram shows a quadrilateral JKLM Work out the size of angle KLM. So we're working out this. Give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. We've got a right angle triangle here. That's the hypotenuse. Now we need an extra length to find a missing angle using trigonometry. Can we see we've got this is 4.5 and 7 here, so we can use Pythagoras. So let's start doing, and that's the hypotenuse here. So we've got 7 squared add 4.5 squared. Get your answer. We're going to square root your answer, and then you should get an answer of 8.32166. I'm just going to round that there. So that's 5 decimal places. Because your answers are 3 significant figures, that's more than enough accuracy. You could probably do that to 2 or 3 decimal places, you'll be fine. And then we're going to use that. So we've got, and I'm just going to use 8.322 here. So in this shape here, that's the angle. That's the hypotenuse. That's opposite the angle, so it's op. So we've got sine, and we can just call that x equals O over h. So we've got sine x equals 8.322 divided by 15. Inverse sine that. Over 15. We're going to get a range of, well, let's just do that on a calculator actually. Shift sine 8.322 divided by 15, 33.69. It's 3 significant figures though, but let's write 33.7. That's 30 significant figure, so to 3SF, and that will be get you your full marks. That's 4 marks as well. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so I use, this is density. You've got a liquid, another density, and so that looks like a volume there, right? That's a volume, you've got a density. So I use my density mass volume triangle. David Beckham married Victoria Beckham, this is how I remember it. So we've got to break this up. We want to find the density of liquid B. So we want to find the mass of A or C first. Let's work that out. Liquid A has this. So let's do, that's a part of it. So mass equals density times volume. So let's find the mass of A. That's going to be 7 times 1.42, which equals 9.94. Now it's been mixed, so that's 128, right? When A and B are mixed together makes C. So let's say the mass of C equals and it's got this density. So let's see the volume of AB together, which is C. That's 7 add 1, 2, 5. I've got the density there, times 1.05 equals 138.6. So we need, if you think about it, the mass of B must equal the mass of C minus the mass of A. Right, so that's going to be 138.6 minus 9.94. We know the volume of B, VB, equals 125, so we can find the density of B. So D of B, density of B, equals the mass of B divided by the volume of B. So we're just going to write that whole thing in. You could work this out separately, up to you. Divided by the volume of B, 125, and to 2 decimal places we will get 1.03, and that's another nice 3 marks. You just need to problem solve with that. Question 8 is an error interval question, and let's just do that now. So question 8, it's a good 2 marks if you know what to do. Kieran used the calculator to work out the value of a number x. She wrote down the first 2 digits of the answer on her calculator. She wrote down 7.3, write down the error interval for x. So I want to explain this showing you the calculator. So there's a random digit on a calculator. It could be this, it could be so forth. All we know is definitely the first 2 are 7.3. So the next one is 0 and 0, 0, 0 and maybe 1 at the end. We don't know what it is. It could be anything. Can you see the next number can be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and at most it could be reoccurring 9s. That's the max it can be, because all we know is it's going to be 7.3. So the error interval for x is going to be 7.3, because it could just be lots of 7.3000001, and then it's going to be less than 7.4. So x is going to be greater than or equal to 7.3, but it's got to be less than 7.4, because the first 2 digits is 7.3, and imagine that's the actual number, so that is the error interval. Hopefully that makes sense for a nice 2 marks. So cumulative frequency used to historically always be considered bank of marks. This looks quite straightforward because they've given you the cumulative frequency, so you don't need to add up the numbers and work it out. So it's A is between 20 and 30, but it's greater than 20. So I'm just going to write this here, so hopefully I can see it in the next page. So from 30 it starts at 10, from 40 it's 26, 50, this is just an arrow guys, it's 58, at 60 we're going to be plotting 66 and 70. Right, hopefully that stays in range. No, I've lost that, but okay. 30 is 10, age 30, and let's just make a nice cross at 10. 40 is 26, 50, it's 58. At 60, it's 66. At 70, was it 70? I believe. At 70, it was 70. Nice. That looks like what a cumulative frequency should look like. Now, so one thing we've got to check, the age A years, you can see it's always greater than 20, so it does not go to 0. So this should link at 20. Start at 20. Use a smooth line. Obviously do it a lot better than this. Okay. Now, use your graph to find an estimate for the median age. There's 70 people. So in this instance, you can just do 70 divided by 2 equals 35. Let's do the dotted line, look professional for the examiner. That looks like 44 years to me. And they accept a range between 41 to 45. So that should be marks in your pockets. Okay. So lots of students do have a problem with this because it's thinking around cumulative frequency. More than 60% of the people in the office are between 35 and 55 years old. Use your graph to determine if Francesco is correct. So let's just mark on 35 people, which is here, and 55. Oh no, 55 years old. So that's the wrong way. Do look at the scale. Worth me doing that just to show you. So we're going to look at the ages. Double check your work. So 35 is here. 55 comes up to, say, here. So can you see how many people is that? That's 62 here. If we dotted the line up to here. So you do it that way. And at 35, can you see that's 16? So let's write 62 minus 16. That equals 46. So that's 46 people. 70 people are. So what's 46 divided by 70? Okay, we can times it by 100 to turn that into percentage. Let's say times 100 equals 65.7 equals 65.7% to 1 dp, and then say, so Francesco is correct. So let's have a look at this question here. In a cell, the price of the TV is reduced by 25%. So I'm just going to use the letter T instead of X. The price, T equals the original price. Now I can tell this is a reverse percentage type question, because a week later it's reduced by 15% again. So it's a double reverse percentage. So If the original price was 100%, it's been reduced by 25%, so that's 75% of the price. So t, and as a decimal, that's 0.75. So t times 0.75 was what it was first reduced by. Now the new, so I'm going to just say Tn for new. So the new price of Tn is 100%, but it's been reduced a further 15%, so it's minus 15% off, so that's 85%, which is 0.85. So then that price, the Tn, now that will be Tn, but don't worry about that. So we've had t times 0.75 times 0.85 will equal the current new price of £293.25, and I'll just call that the new price. So to work this out, I'll show you step by step. So if you divide by 0.85 both sides, you get t times 0.75 equals 345. So that's the price after its first reduction, because we're going backwards to do the inverse again. And that would equal, just do that on your calculator, 460. Now that's the first time I think I've seen a double reverse percentage for a long time, but hopefully you'll be able to answer any type of reverse percentage question with using this skill. That's a nice 3 marks, but I can see that catching quite a few people out. Right, let's see a nice triple bracket question worth 3 marks. Now this should be guaranteed at least 2 marks in your pocket. I'm going to start with multiplying these two out. So x times x, and it's x squared, that's plus 8x, remember we should get 4 terms, plus the 2x plus 16. Let's combine that. Now we want to multiply this out by x minus 4. Now remember each term here, that's going to be once and twice, so that's x cubed minus 4x squared. I'm going to run out of space, I'm going to write this underneath, plus 10x squared minus 40x, now plus 16x minus 16 times minus 4 is minus 64. Combine the like terms, and people do lose a mark on this just because of they mess up the negative symbols, but that's going to be x cubed minus 4x squared plus 10x squared, that's plus 6x squared minus 40x plus 16x, so that's going to be negative 24x minus 64. That's your 3 marks, quite easily done. Let's go down to question 12. So we have a tin, a metal rod inside the tin. It's on the table. AC is the diameter, and that's BC is vertical, so this is the height. And we have the radius is 5. Find the angle between the rod and the base of the tin. That's the rod, and that's the angle, and that's the base. So we're finding this angle, so we can use trig, and we need to find h. Well, how can we find the height of this? It's given us 5 and the volume. So what's the volume of a cylinder? It's the area of the cross section. The area, any prism is the area of the cross section times its height or length, so that circles pi r squared. and then h. Let's substitute what we know. This is the volume. We know r is 5, so we can say that equals 25 pi h. So to find the height, we just divide both sides by 25 pi. So 1178 divided by 25 pi equals h. Let's use a calculator for that. 1178 divided by, I like using this button, 25 times shift pi, 14.998. We want the answer to the nearest degree, so I'm just going to use 3 decimal places. It's going to be more than accurate, just because otherwise that's rounds to 15, but I just want to be super accurate, so I'm going to say that's 14.999. .999, and that's got to be centimeters. So essentially we've got this trig triangle here. It's not to scale. 14.999 to the nearest degree, so rounding it to 1 decimal place should be enough. Maybe using 15 will give us the correct answer, but I just like to do this. We want this angle. Now be careful, this is going to throw people off. That radius is 5, so that whole length must be 10, because that's the diameter. So what have we got here? Well, we don't have the hypotenuse, so because you can see there's a right angle there. So this is the opposite and adjacent. So we know tan, let's say that's x. Tan x equals opposite over adjacent. Let's substitute those figures in. Let's inverse tan that. So x equals shift tan .3. It does say to the nearest degree, so x equals 56 degrees. That's correct. Oh, nice 4 marks, but you can do that, break that down. Now, it's a proof type question. For any 3 consecutive whole numbers, prove algebraically that the largest numbers and the smallest number are factors of the number that is 1 less than the square of the middle number. Right. So let's start with 3 consecutive numbers. So that's going to be n for one number, n plus 1 is the next one, and n plus 2. That should get you a method mark. So, the largest number and the smallest number are factors of a number that is 1 less than the square of the middle number. Right. So let's just work out the square. So actually, let's just, the middle number must be n plus 1, right? So let's do n plus 1 squared. Now this wording of this is a bit odd. Remember, n plus 1 is this. Maybe do that out of form so you don't make the silly mistake of saying that's n squared plus 1. That's going to be n squared. Well, I'm just going to jump a step to n plus 1. That's the middle number. Right. Now, let's multiply the smallest number. by the largest number equals n squared plus 2n. That's another method mark. Right, so if you multiply these together, they're both factors of 1 less than this. And you can see that's 1 less, so that's the proof. So n squared plus 2n is 1 less than n squared plus 2n plus 1, and those are both factors. I mean, you could, if you know the factor remainder theorem, and do that kind of, let's see if this kind of makes sense, because if you have n plus 2 and times it by n, you get 1 less, and the first number n times n plus 2, that's another factor, and it's 1 less than 2n squared plus 1, so that's sort of the answer. Question 14. Right, I do like these questions. Prove algebraically, so you've got to use algebra. They could ask you to work that out without proving algebraically for like in the first half of the paper to check your division with decimal skills. So let's start right with let x equal 0.457. That means the 5 sevens repeat. So we want to find something where we can cancel the repeating. So we times that by 10. Times by 10. We're going to get 10x equals 4.575757. Right. Let's multiply x now. Let's call that 1. Let's multiply 1 by, we want to cancel this out. So let's get to the next repeating. So that's timesing it by 1,000. Timesing 1 by 1,000. So then we get 1000x. You could kind of tell because that's 330, so we're gonna want a decent size here. Equals 457.5757. That all repeats. And let's call that equation 2 and equation 3. So if we do 3 minus equation 2, you're going to get 990x equals this section and this section is all cancelled, so it's 457 minus 4 equals 453. Oh, I'm going to run out of space, obviously it's too big. So you can see x is going to equal 453 divided by 990, and that simplifies to 151 over 330, and that's your 3 out of 3 marks right there. Now on to question 15. It's regions. I'm just going to write this down here so I can see it when I scroll down. X is less than 4, so this is learning your equation of lines. Let's write this into a format you understand. So this is going to be, let's do it as a, we minus 2x. Minus 2x, you're going to get y is greater than 6 minus 2x. So it's right here, y is greater than 6 minus 2x. And that's y is greater than a third x. So let's start. So let's start with x is less than 4, so the line here, do that dotted because it's less than. That should probably get you a method mark. Now you just want to plot the next points. So y is greater than a third. So if you just plot the graph of y equals a third x, you can do a table of values or whatever, but I'm just going to substitute it in. So when x, right, so wait, that's easier. When y equals 2, or actually let's just do when x equals 3, 3 times a third is 1, y equals 1. I'm doing this one first. So 6 times a third is 2, so when x equals 6, that's 2. When x is 0, y is 0. It says greater than here, so do that dotted line as well. Use a ruler. Right. Now let's do 6 minus 2x. So let's choose when x equals 0. Maybe I should do that in different coloured pens. Yeah. So that's that one. I'm going to go over that in red, so we can see. That's so we're doing y is greater than a third x here. So when y is greater than a third x, got to be up here. But let's talk about that later. Let's choose another coloured pen for. Let's choose. Ooh, keep that as red. And let's choose pink for this one. So let's substitute for this one now. So when x equals 0, y is 6. Now I'm just double checking I've got those signs correct. Yep. When x equals 1, that's 6 minus 4. When x equals 2, 6 minus 4. So that's 2, 2. And when x equals 3, that's 0. So I'm dotted line there. Now you've got 2. What are we doing? So the region defined by all 3 of those, label the region R. So what's in all 3 of those? X is less than 4. Ooh. So x is less than 4 is this way, right? Just join that. Let's do y is greater than a third x. So that's up here, up here. And it says y is greater than 6 minus 2x, so it has to be up here. Now let's just choose a point to be sure. So I'm going to choose, what's a nice number? Let's choose here. Let's choose this point. So let's see this. When x equals 3, that is less than 4. That works. Right, when x equals 3 here, that's 0. And you can see y is 4 here, so y is greater than 0. That works. When x is 4 here, that's 4 over 3. And y is still 4 and 4. So it has to be in this region, and I'm going to shade this in here. Call that R. It's got to be all. It's got to be this point here. Right, you can tell it's not this one, because if I choose x equals 0, it does not fit this, right? When x equals 0, if I chose this point here, that's 0, 3. And that's 0. We get y here is 3, and then 3 is not greater than 6. So that's the area that you need to do. That's a nice 3 marks. Question 16 now. Right. There's cubes in the bag. Jason wants to work out the estimate of the number of cubes in the bag. He doesn't know what is what. So he takes out 10 cubes from the bag. He puts a mark on each cube and then puts each cube back in the bag. So let's express that algebraically. We know there's a number of cubes in the bag. So with that, it just says 10 out of n, right? N is the total number. He's got to mark 10 out of n. Jason shakes the bag, so that's him mixing it up, and he takes at random 20 of the cubes, and he's got 3 marks on the cube. So he's got 3 out of 20 here with marks. So we can just write 10 out of n equals 3 over 20. So let's times by 20 times by 20. So we get 200 over n equals 3. Now we need to times out by n on both sides. Times out by n, because we want n on the top. So we get 200 equals 3n. So we're going to divide by 3, divide by 3. So 200 over 3 is going to equal n. You work that out on your calculator. You're going to round that up to the nearest value, which is integer, which is going to be 67. And that one is that one done. Okay, so this is a question near the end, and it's an iteration type question. At the start of 2016 there were 30 grams of metal, so that means P0 is 30. So in 2017, let's find out next 1 year, you would just use the formula. So you'll get P1 equals 0.87 times 30, which equals 0.87 times 30, 26.1. That's going to get you 1 mark right then. So P2, you're subbing this value back in to this formula. So you've got 0.87 times 26.1. So last answer my calculator times 0.87, 22.707. 22.707. So this is going to take us to P3, because if you think sense, that's 2017, that's 2018, so 2019 is going to be 0.87 times 22.707. So times 0.87 equals 19.77509. So the quantity in 2019, see that's there. It says the nearest gram, so that's going to be 20 grams, and that's a mark, 3 marks there if you know how to do this. Graph transformations with trig. Right, so if you can remember graph transformations, the number on the outside is going up or down. Number inside the bracket is left or right, but we solve inside the bracket. So let's try to match points. This is quite hard to see. This point, I believe, matches with this point. So you can see B is -1. Now you can see, because this graph, and it's not a reflection because there's no negative sign, so that's -1. B has to be -1. So if B is -1, can we see A, we solve, it's going to the left 90. So if it's going to the left 90, it must be A must be 90, because left 90 would be -90, but we solve it, so that's going to be 90. Yeah, we should hopefully see that, and I'm going to try to draw this. You can see if this is stretched down here, 1 down and 90 left. Here we go. That's 1 down, 90 left. See, it fits. That's the point there at the top. 1 down, 90 left. Let's go here. 1 down, 90 left. So this point matches that point, and you can see that's the new transformation. So when it's going left, it's +90. If it's going to the right, and if it's a different question, that's -90. A will be -90. Right, but do revise graph transformations if you're really going to push for that grade 8 and 9. But if you're after 7, it's worth doing graph transformations anyway. Question 19, that looks like vectors. So look at this vectors question. We've got BD to DC, that's 3 to 1. Prove that AD is a straight line, so we want there to be multiples of each other, and that will show that it's a straight line. So what we want to show is so what's A to E first? Let's write that down. You can see A to E equals 3A, so that's 3A. BE equals 3AC, so 3 times AC is plus 6B. 3 times that is 6B. Now, if you can see A to D, to get from A to D, that's going to equal 3A plus 3/4 B to C, right? So what is B to C? B to C, we can see, is -3A plus 2B, going this way. So I'm going to say 2B minus 3A, so it's got 3/4 of that. So AD equals 3A plus 3/4 2B minus 3A. Now we want to find D to E to make sure it's a straight line. And right, so D to E. Hopefully you can see this. How do we get from D to E? Well, can you see if we've got BC equals 2B minus 3A, then C to B is going to be the opposite of that, so that's minus 2B plus 3A, but that's because that's CB, but we're going to make that 3/4 of that, plus what's B to E now? B to E is 3AC, which 3AC is 6B. So we want to compare AD and DE to make sure AD and DE is all in a straight line. So let's just simplify AD. AD is going to be 3A plus 6 over 4B minus 9 over 4A. Now you can use your calculator to work that out, but I know 3A is the same as 12 over 4, so 12 over 4 plus 9 over 4, we're going to get 3/4 A plus 6 over 4B. That should be AD. Right, now let's do DE. We've got minus 6 over 4B plus 9 over 4A plus 6B, 6B times that by 4, that's 24 over 4B minus 6B is 18 over 4B plus 9 over 4A. Now can we take out an A or B in common from here? But you can see they're multiples of each other, right? That's times 6, no, times 3 for A and times 3 for B. So let's just take the 3/4 out so we can see this. So we've got 3 over 4 A plus 2B for AD. Now DE, let's take 3 over 4 out. No, not 3 over 4, that's 9 over 4. A plus 2B, so they're multiples of each other, so must be straight line. Because DE equals 3 times the amount of AD. That is a good concluding statement, and that's another 4 marks there. Right, step 1, there's 9 counters in the bag. 3 are even, 6 are odd. 3 counters are going to be taken out at random. The numbers on the counters will be added together to give the total. Find the probability that the total is an odd number. So what we need to know is find the combinations that will make it odd. So we know odd plus odd plus odd equals odd. Let me think. Let's just start with odd first and be systematic. So we know odd. Well, odd plus odd makes even, right? So the only other one with odd is odd. I'm going to write E plus E. That's odd. So that means we've got, let's move odd into the middle. We've got even plus odd plus even. That's odd. These are combinations, and we can get even plus odd is going to be odd. Now if we just work out all the odd combinations, that would be easiest. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think that's all the ways you can make an odd number, because let's think of the other combinations. Even at even, just to make sure, that's even. And odd add even is even, and even plus odd equals even. So I think every other way you're gonna, so there's 4 ways to make odd numbers. So let's work P O P odd. That's 6 out of 9 times, we've got 1 less, so times 5 out of 9 times 4 out of 9. Let's work that out. Oh, and I did say there's 1 less, but there's 1 less in the bag. So that's 8 and 7. That's going to equal 120 over 504. Now let's do P O E E. So odd is 6 out of 9 times, now there's 8 left, how many evens are there, times 3 times 1 less even, 2 out of 7. That's 36 out of 504. P E O E. So that's, again, it should work out the same as this because it's the same multiplication, but let's just do this properly. So that's 3 out of 9 times odd, which is 6 out of 8, times even, which is 2 out of 7. It's the same. 36 out of 504, and PEEO, imagine that's going to be the same. So it's 3 out of 9 times 2 out of 8 times 6 out of 7. Yeah, it's going to be 36 out of 504. Let's add that together. So 120, let's just make sure we hit those method marks. Add 36 over 504, add 36 over 504, add 36 over 504. Feel free to use your calculator for this, and that's 228 out of 504. Now when you're getting tired, do double check through your paper when you've got time, because it's quite easy to make a silly mistake like I almost did there. Oh, that's a big 5 marks as well. That's going to help you get guaranteed an 8 or 9. Right guys, functions. This is a very nice grade 9 topic that if you understand this, you can really hit some marks. So f of x equals x cubed, g of x equals 4x minus 1. So let's find f g of x first. So you're essentially putting g of x into f of x. So essentially what you're doing is this, because that comes first, that goes into f of x. So if we replace that with x cubed here, that's going to be this. Now you might think, I'm going to expand this out, but we just need to substitute this in. fg2. So we can just do that without, it's only 2 marks, right? So let's keep it simple. So that's going to be 8 minus 1 cubed. So that's 7 cubed, which is 49 times 7 is 343, I believe. But do check with your calculator. 7, where's the cube button? Oh, there it is. Yeah, perfect. Now h of x equals fg of x. Find the inverse. Ooh, okay, so let's just work out what fg of x is first. We've done that, right? We've done 4x minus 1 cubed. Let's rub out that dot. Equals hx. So remember, let's just turn that into y equals 4x minus 1 cubed. Make x the subject, and then put the letters back into it. That's the inverse. So we're going to get the cube root of y equals 4x minus 1. So this isn't actually too bad. Plus 1. Plus 1. So let's say that's the cube root of y plus 1 equals 4x. And we're going to divide out by 4 now. So cube root of y plus the 1 is on the outside, all over 4 equals x. So we just swap this y for the x, so that's going to be the cube root of x plus 1 divided by 4. I can feel the grade 9 coming. If you revise all the skills that you know and can apply it, grade 8 and 9 is definitely coming. Now we must be on the last question soon. Question 22, circles. Right, so we've got this, x squared plus y squared equals 261. That means the centre is 0. A tangent to the circle is drawn at A with coordinates p minus 15. And p is greater than 0. We know that by the graph. Right, find an equation of the tangent at A. So that's the tangent. We want to find the equation in this line, which is going to be something in the form of y equals mx plus c. Right, so this is 0, 0. And we've got a point here. Now what's the radius? Remember, circles are x squared plus y squared equals r squared. To find p, let's just find p. We know that that point is minus 15. So the radius is the square root of 261. I mean 261. 261 equals r, right? So that is the square root of 261. So you understand. Let's take that triangle out. We've got the square root of 261, and we've got 15 And right, doesn't matter which way round you do this triangle, but imagine that's going to be a right angle triangle there. So let's do the 261 squared minus 15 squared equals, and then square root the answer to get the length of P. So let's do that. The square root of 261 squared is 261. So actually let's just do 261 minus 15 squared, which I know is 225, equals 36. Square root that answer, which I know is 6. So that equals 36. The square root of 36 equals 6. So P is 6. Because that's how far that length here to here is. So let's scroll down a bit. So we need to find the gradient. Now that we've got, let's show you here, we've got this triangle here, that's 6 and 50. Now it's a negative gradient, so the change of y divided by the change of x, so m1 is going to equal minus 15 over 6, it's going downhill. So m2, can you see this is perpendicular gradient, m2 is going to equal 6 over 15. Right, remember m1 times m2 needs to equal minus 1 to prove they're perpendicular. Which, let's simplify that to something easier, divided by 3 is 2 over 5. So we know the tangent is in the form y equals 2 over 5x plus c, but we know this coordinate we can substitute in to find c, so let's substitute that in. Minus 15 equals 6, x is 6, let's just do the whole thing, times 6 plus c. We're going to get minus 15 equals 12 over 5 plus c. That's right, let's minus 12 over 5. And no need to mess around. Minus 15 minus 12 over 5, just use a calculator for speed. That's 87 over 5. Let's do that. That's minus 17.4. So minus 17.4 equals c. So we can write y equals 2 over 5x minus 17.4. That's another 5 marker. So look at, earn all those method marks. That's a very nice question at the end. You should be able to feel that you can get the grade 8 and 9 right there.